Now, the Prime Minister of the country is currently in Gujarat, where he's going to be inaugurating very shortly, or rather be attending and making his keynote address at the Vibrant Gujarat Summit, something that he himself as Chief Minister of Gujarat had started. The visuals that you see on your screens are significantly interesting and important ones, because the Prime Minister has taken the opportunity to host the President of the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, and not only are we hosting the President, PM Modi is taking him on a road show, a 3-kilometer long road show through to the place where I'm getting some interruption in my ears. We'll just get that muted out. Where the Vibrant Gujarat Summit is being held. So a grand welcome, in fact a grand julus rally is being organized for the UAE President visiting India, where crowds are gathered on the streets, and the UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan along with PM Modi are in that car. You can see in that camera close up there, waving at the people who are gathered on the sides of the roads. PM Modi, of course, will be in the UAE scarcely a month from now, where in Abu Dhabi he'll be inaugurating one of the biggest Hindu temples which is being built in Abu Dhabi as we speak by BAPS after the fantastic temple that they've already built in New Jersey. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is happening at the same time where two of our union ministers, Smriti Irani as well as the Foreign Affairs, MOS Foreign Affairs, Mr. Muralidharan, are in Medina. They've been on a visit to Saudi Arabia. So two union ministers are in Saudi Arabia where they're sorting out Hajj and other facilities. The Abu Dhabi President is here. Before this, PM Modi had a bilateral meeting with the President of Mozambique. And there were other business leaders, of course, who were attending Vibrant Gujarat. But look at this. Now, I do not think that any dignitary from the UAE will have ever received a welcome like this, where the people are out on the streets greeting you. Look, that's him waving in the back of the car. So you can see PM Modi is sitting from our perspective on the left side, and President Al Nahyan is sitting on the right side. So let me quickly open up this conversation because for obvious reasons this has significance. Ambassador Manju Seth joining us on the broadcast, Brigadier Shardendu is with us on the broadcast, Sumit Peer is on the broadcast, Joyita Basu joining us in the studio, and Himanshu Bhatt is joining us on the broadcast as well. Himanshu ji, what do you make of this, sir? Ahmedabad to Gandhinagar, it's not a long drive, it's 3-4 kilometers. Yes. But you know, we've seen Donald Trump get this kind of a cavalcade with an audience. Now the UAE President, I don't think he would have seen something like this before. This is would be a first for the UAE President.
Yes, this will be a first one, and it's the future. I'm looking at the future, and the tango between Bharat and UAE is going to be very, very heavy. Next month, as you said, you know, the biggest Swaminarayan temple will be inaugurated in Abu Dhabi. Me and you probably did not think that UAE could have a temple and grandly inaugurated by Bharat's Prime Minister. But that's happening. The basic reason for that is people have started looking at the future. And they're looking at the compatible diasporas of both the countries. Well, Indians have a huge presence there. Indian diaspora is such a huge one there in UAE that I will not be surprised in 2-3 decades, this will be the first Hindu country in Middle East. I'm making this statement very, very carefully. The reason for that is, basically what's happening is, see, petrodollars are drying out on one side. So they will have to look at the other avenues. And as far as this, Gujarat is also very symbolic for this. The reason for that is, Gujarat is number one as far as the solar energy and renewable energies are concerned in the country.
Okay.
So there's going to be a connection. See, I am seeing this. I am seeing this optics, which is taking place right now between Gandhinagar and Ahmedabad. It's a very, very indicative one of the things to come. It started with, Abor having decided to open up a mall in Jammu and Kashmir, and now the whole thing is coming to pan India. And when that happens, what happens is this year you should not forget one more thing, and that is right now where I'm sitting in Surat. In Surat, we have had world's biggest diamond booth being conducted.
Yes.
And we are looking at the transacting of the business of 2 lakh crores per year. And if you go and see who holds the sway in gems and jewelry business in Dubai, you will find 60-70% of them being Indians. And most of them Gujaratis who have their shops across here. So there's a very big connect there.
Okay.
I am looking at 2-3 fields. Gems and jewelry. See, there's going to be very huge investment in Gujarat.
No, so there are obviously particular areas of interest, but now we have look at the larger picture, okay? And Joyita, why don't you come in on this, okay? Just see this on your screens, okay? This is happening in Gandhinagar, and this is a full salute, ceremonial parade, cavalcade. Now, this part, as head of state, he would be used to receiving a guard of honor, okay, with the band. But Joyita, no way as a cavalcade like that being organized anywhere.
Well, I do not know. I mean,
I can't think of any for sure.
Well, I don't think the UAE President would have seen something like this before. But yes, Prime Minister Modi had first organized it for Shinzo Abe, if you remember. Shinzo Abe and his wife soon after he came to power. Then, of course, Mr. Donald Trump, and I think this is the third one. So yes, I mean, this, you see, this pomp and show also has a lot of symbolic importance, primarily because it shows the importance of India-UAE relations. It's an acknowledgement. I mean, see, the Prime Minister even went to the airport to receive him, and this honor has been, I think he has given to very few people like Barack Obama, Donald Trump, like that.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at that, I mean, President Mohammed bin Zayed is being given that status of some of the most important world leaders who have visited India. So it shows the importance of India-UAE relationship. It shows how, they have been coming closer, and we have to think it in terms of not just the expatriates who are there. Indians, apparently, they constitute, I think, between 33 or maybe 35-36% of UAE population over there. Apart from that, the potential, the money that the investment that UAE can bring in, and think it is already happening in Jammu and Kashmir. A lot of investment is coming in. And you see, the other thing that is going to happen, I mean, that is not going to be said, but implicit in it is the message, the kind of attacks that happen on India being anti-Muslim, and the kind of, that we are this whole ceremonial welcome is also a message to the world, to the US, and to all those wokes and all those lobbyists who work on behalf of Pakistan and who have got into that USCIRF and all that. Listen, when you are looking at India and relationship between India and Muslim countries, this is what it is actually like. So all that is actual trash, that when you're talking about oppression of the minorities, the so-called leader of Hindu nationalists who is going around murdering and killing Muslims and all. So that's all nonsense.
Yeah, it is nonsense, but sometimes it has to be called out for the nonsense that it is. Let me get Brigadier Shraddhendu into this. Brigadier Shraddhendu, what do you make of what you're seeing, sir? Like I said, I can't think that the UAE President would have seen this kind of a road show organized ever before.
Yes, and thank you for inviting me on the show. First of all, this has become a trend. This has become a SOP of Indian government, and whenever Prime Minister organizes any event, whether it is a vibrant Gujarat or it is G20 or any event, whatever we have conducted so far, it has been always conducted with the flawless mechanism. And whosoever has come, not only this President of UAE, any foreign dignitary is coming, when he comes to India, he has been given that kind of welcome. And for UAE President, it must be, milestone. You would not have seen this kind of reception anywhere in the world, where Prime Minister himself had gone to the airport to receive him. Thereafter, the Guard of Honor and the roadshow which is taking place. So all these things are mesmerizing. Any foreign dignitary comes, he gets mesmerized. The kind of warmth we show, the kind of arrangement we make, the kind of importance we attach to any event, it is a mind-boggling. It is nobody has seen. Whether it is US President or anybody, whosoever has come, he always appreciated that. And we believe that Atithi Devo Bhava, the concept which we propagate all over the world, if we give importance to everyone and we give attachment and we thereafter follow up our bilateral ties. So as far as global Gujarat is concerned, as far as the event is concerned, it is a milestone, and every time it is being proven. And I think in Indian system, it has become SOP, the standard which has been set by the Prime Minister. It is much other countries to follow. Everybody is trying to learn and see how things are being conducted. So when President of UAE will go back, definitely you'll have good feeling, good impression about the India, and our ties, bilateral ties will further improve. As it is, we are having 6 to 7% of our commercial business with UAE as far as West Asia is concerned. So it will get further enhanced. So everything is to be taken into that account. Commerce is one, but our cultural ties, our art, education, all these things are metalizing. And the kind of interaction we are having with UAE in science and technology, in petroleum products, gems, jewelry, food products, engineering tools, all if you put together, it is a very strong relationship we are developing, and it is an inroad to the West Asia. UAE is very important partner, and we are making further. And you remember in G20 we had propagated the India and the Middle East economic corridor we talked about. Because of the Palestine issue, this thing has taken a little backseat, but in years to time to come, it will materialize, and it will materialize good for India. And as far as UAE and India, there are a lot of commonality, lot of area where we can develop our, further enhance our relationship. And as far as global summit is concerned, probably we will think of further enhancing our dependence on each other. Bilateral issue, as it is, our Prime Minister is going to interact with 34 countries are taking part in this, and 16 partner organizations are taking part. So a lot of commerce is, a lot of commercial activity, a lot of bilateral issues, a lot of art, culture, education, all will be put together, and probably this will be a great success as far as India is concerned. And more so, this sort of a summit should be held so that we expose. People should come, see our entrepreneurship, see our commerce and trade relationship, see where all we can do cooperation in green energy, as far as hydrogen, green hydrogen is concerned, sustainable energy. There is an ample of area where we both can work together and enhance our trade relation and mutual dependence and faith.
Okay, let me get Sumit into this conversation. Sumit, let's just take a larger picture, and then I want to get back into what it actually means. So the president of the UAE is in India. He is being received by the Prime Minister at the airport. Then a cavalcade lined with people waving flags 3-4 kilometers long. Then the Guard of Honor. Then, of course, the bilateral meeting and the Vibrant Gujarat event that he's attending. What do we make of it? What's the sign and symbol that's been sent from here?
Rishabhji, thanks for having me on your show. First of all, we have to understand UAE is our third biggest trading partner. The investments which are going to come from UAE, the trade is going to cross 100 billion. It's a matter of time. And the trade volume which we expect, because UAE is also changing its business and all, it's expected to go around $300 billion a year. So UAE is very important to us. We have a big, powerful diaspora there. and the most important thing is that you see there are two important things happening in my opinion. One is Sheikh Al Nahyan being given such a ceremonious welcome. So if you are our third biggest partner, we value our foreign policies independent of religion. It doesn't matter which religion you are. It's not, you don't have to be a Christian or a Buddhist or a Muslim. It will not matter to us. It is, India is for business and India is for friendly relations with the Islamic world. And today I see Smriti Irani ji and Mr. Rao in Mecca and Medina, I mean, where non-Muslims are not allowed. And again, Smriti ji is wearing a sari, she's wearing a Mangal Sutra, she has a bindi, she has a, sindoor, and the head is not covered. There's a lot of, Rishabh ji, I see there's a lot of change happening in the Muslim world. Islamic world is trying to refine itself and they're taking India as a partner, not as other Islamic country as a partner. For that matter, how many such countries can Sheikh Al Nahyan go on a roadshow considering security? A lot of Islamic countries you cannot simply go. In a country like Pakistan, can he dare to do a roadshow like this? No, there will be major security challenges. So in a dominant Hindu country, in a peaceful Hindu country, in a looking forward Hindu country, where development is the mantra and we are celebrating this vibrant Gujarat 20 years, it's Prime Minister Modi who started this, politics of development, politics of investment, politics of building mutual trust and mutual friendship. Now that is validated on the ground. What we are showing him is not only the leaders who like you, it's not only the money which likes you, the person on the ground, a common Gujarati likes you, loves you, and we cherish the relation what we have. That is an important message what we send to him.
Okay.
And this is what is important.
Okay, so now let's discuss the theme that Joyita was mentioning over here. Okay, yeah. So Smriti Irani is there in with G. Muralidharan. Both of them, two ministers, union ministers, are there in Saudi Arabia. They've signed a record Hajj quota, 1.75 lakh Hajis, Hajj Yatras will be allowed from India. They've just reviewed Medina. I don't think I've ever seen a visit like this before, where I have never seen it. And you've had a very interesting thing. We've been discussing this earlier in the day. So we have a Muslim ambassador there. Ambassador Dr. Khan is there. You had from Kerala, you had a minister, you had Smriti Irani, a Hindu woman who's married to a Zoroastrian, Zubin Irani, who has been escorted by the Saudis. They've gone to the holiest Islamic sites, the Quba Mosque, they've gone to the Urud Mountains. Now, while this is happening, the UAE President is being greeted here. So now what is then? Are we getting past this entire thing that there is high degree of Islamophobia, Hindu fundamentalism, right wing, Kashmir is an Islamic issue? Are we moving past these things now?
We are not only moving past this, we have proven to the world. I always argue on various platforms. Do you think the land of Prophet Muhammad doesn't know what is Kashmir? Do you think the land of Prophet Muhammad and the Arabs will give the highest civilian award and the UAEs will give the highest civilian award to our Prime Minister? Because if you think what he is, or if you want to perceive him what he is, it is all Pakistani and ISI agenda. You cannot tell the land of Prophet Muhammad, so these are sellouts and UAEs are sellouts. No, they are not. So see the kind of honor our minister Smriti Irani ji, being a lady. I mean, ladies hardly are allowed there. Being a lady, and she's in the full Indian attire, sari, Mangal Sutra, head is not covered. She's escorted by the Arabs and she's taken to the holiest of sites. Look at Mr. Rao, he's escorted by the Arabs. Usually you won't see a lady going there. And here what we are reciprocating to, we are giving the best ever welcome to an Islamic leader by the hearts and minds of the people on the road. They are not Rajneetik Karyakartas. It's not a political elite. It's the normal people on the road. This tells us that India is not what is being perceived by Pakistan and ISI agenda. India is not what is perceived by somebody. There is nothing called right wing or left wing. Being nationalistic is, if you call right wing, let it be so. This is a nationalistic government. Okay. People of Hitler were right wing. This is not a right wing. There is nothing called a left wing. If nationalistic is a right wing, then that is the nomenclature problem we have to settle. Okay. This Pakistani agenda is defeated, Rishabh, by the most powerful Islamic countries.
Yeah, and of course, the two main funders that are keeping Pakistan afloat are the UAE and Saudi Arabia after China and the IMF. Okay, the loans come from here. Still, Joyita, so now in this larger rubric, okay, of India as a country with 200 million Muslims, as the 5th largest economy, engaging with the economies that are trying to modernize, and the Emiratis and the Saudis are certainly one of them. They are rapidly trying to modernize. They have large bases of labor and migrants coming from India all over these countries. What is the pivot that's happened that is allowing for such kind of scenes?
Well, I think in this, the Indian diaspora, the expatriate community in the UAE and I would say the other Gulf nations and even Saudi Arabia for that matter, they have played a huge part in this. In terms of when you look at, I mean, many of us, of course, have gone to UAE and the other places. Indians are highly valued over there. Okay, when you look at the comparatively, when you are talking to the Arabs and all, when they are talking about Pakistanis and Indians, any day they would say, even when it comes to the most simple jobs and I would say the blue collar workers, they would say we would any day work with Indians than with Pakistanis. Okay, because they are more hardworking, they are not lazy, they are not radicalized. So, I mean, when you are looking at the Arab world, that is something that they abhor. You know, they do not like any form of extremism. They do not like any sort of radicalization and radicalized population. It's a different matter that the Saudi Arabia, at least the clerics of Saudi Arabia or one section of the royal family of Saudi Arabia, certain royals, they have been promoting Wahhabism throughout the world, but with the coming in of, I would say, Mohammed bin Salman, he is trying very hard to change it. He's, I mean, modernizing Saudi Arabia. So all these things, India has a solidly good image when it comes to the Gulf. And apart from that, that has already, I would say, built that base. And when you are looking at our current Prime Minister and the current government in particular, Prime Minister, he has had tremendous outreach with the Arab countries, with the Gulf, and it comes naturally. It is not that, you know, he has to improve the image of the government to the world community. No, I think it is much more than that. And I think in recognition of that, this highest, as Sumit also mentioned, the highest civilian honors that have come.
Yeah.
So you see, when you are looking at it, and if you are looking at UAE in particular, UAE has been one of those countries that has been standing up for India in that, you know, OIC, certain conferences and all. So India-UAE relationship is very
they who broke the mold, because when they invited Sushma Swaraj, to attend and make a speech, when the Pakistani foreign minister had to boycott it because he felt so offended. Bully for him. Let me get Himanshu back in. Himanshu ji, now in a sense of Narendra Modi, the Bharatiya Janata Party, India as a country, who have all been repeatedly targeted to be Islamophobic. The BJP has, Narendra Modi has, and India as a country has. That this is on the cusp of Muslim genocide and Muslims are all living in fear. The holiest of the holy, home of Makkah and Medina, Saudi Arabia, is embracing you with open arms as you are them. The Emiratis, which is a place where a lot of Indians live and work and have connections with, travel there often, is embracing you. In fact, the UAE is investing in Jammu and Kashmir of all places now. Have we broken the mold, sir? Are we getting past this rather convenient India bashing whip that was used on us for decades?
An apt answer has been given, I would put it that way. An apt answer of the people who always said, you know, right fundamentalist party has come to power some 10 years ago. In foreign media, if you read, you know, the headings were such.
Even today, if I get 10 years ago, even today.
So what is happening is, you know, instead of shouting back at them, you show them what's happening and they'll keep their mouth shut permanently. And this is what is going to happen. This is what exactly is going to happen. When we are talking of UAE and Saudi Arabia, these are the two countries. Another thing, you know, whatever people were talking with this, you know, war between Hamas and Israel, that IBEC is on back burner and this and that and all, there were certain sections. Let me tell them, friends, you know, this is an optic which shows, you know, this is a symbol which shows IMEC is very much online and on track. This is what actually hurts so many people in the world. And that is why it is very much necessary at times, you know, Instead of engaging with them in a verbal warfare, you show them that what you have been talking is all bullshit. So that's why I find this, this sort of functions. Why is it that Narendra Bhai chose Ahmedabad, vibrant Gujarat summit to take MBZ with him? Why? You have to think of that. The reason for that was he wanted to show the world. Because they know, wherever he goes, it's an election year for Bharat. Grudgingly, even BBC will go there. What program they will make, we don't know. But they will have to show this visuals. And visuals.
No, but what about within the country? Sumit Peer, even within the country, for the baiters and the naysayers, okay, who are not.
I know Wahhabis, yaar.
Yeah, I mean, for whatever reasons, the epithets, they are our own people. So within the naysayers of this country, how do we digest, process, or then say, okay, time and tide has passed. We have seen with ourselves, the proof of the pudding is in 10 years of action. We are now seeing these developments take place that actually our inbuilt animosity hasn't come true. So yes, there are going to be issues and the problems and concerns that need to be addressed, but actually good things are happening, and we should, be cautiously optimistic at the very least.
Rishabhji, we are optimistic. We have crossed the river. The water is under the bridge. Look, we have seen at time there were allegations of a genocide in Gujarat. There were, we have these some publications which have printed all kinds of articles. Now they have taken a U-turn. That's a different issue. Now we had this SIT and all Supreme Court, High Court, all investigation going from 2 decades. After 2 decades, Prime Minister gets the clean sheet. He's given the highest civilian award by the land of Prophet Muhammad. He's given the highest civilian award by the UAE. Now these people are coming here and sitting next to the Prime Minister and going to the same state, going to the same place and doing a roadshow with him. If there was an iota of imagination about this genocide and atrocities against Muslims and all, why do you think Sheikh Al Nahyan needs to do this? He would not do it. He might do trade with you, but he will not sit next in a car to you and do a roadshow. Why should a MBS give you the highest civilian award? There is no compulsion on him to do a civilian award.
There's no compulsion.
He can do a trade with you. Trade is not only barometer. Now sting with the Prime Minister in the same state, on the same roads, in the same vicinity, with all those allegations. Now was only agenda of some opposition parties and propaganda of Pakistan, which starts deflated. Agar kisi ka aaj aag lag rahi hogi, it will be ISI, and there will be some people here who will really need Bernal tonight because they don't know how to handle this. Because now you can't say MBS and Sheikh Al Nahyan are sellouts. I mean, they are here because Modi ji asked them to do it. They take orders from Prime Minister Modi. It's not like that. They are powerful Islamic countries, and I'm telling you, the refinement in Islam is happening with the partnership of India. The kind of reception Mr. Rao and Simriti Irani ji is getting in Makkah and Medina is unheard of. I don't see anybody has reached so far, and she's putting her pictures, and I can see all.
Because I was discussing this, So Brigadier Shardendu, there remains perhaps the biggest threat from India is ourselves not being able to understand who we are and what we want to be and where we should be, of living in that brainwashed era that we are 2 nations, that Hindus are separate and Muslims are separate, that Kashmir is for some reason a Muslim issue. When Dubai comes and they say we're going to go to Srinagar, we are a Islamic emirate, we are going to go to Srinagar and we're going to build the biggest mall in Srinagar. Okay, what messaging does that send out? It's not just about the money to build the mall.
Yeah, actually, this is a welcome step. Anybody, whether it is UAE or any foreign investment is likely to come in J&K is always welcome. So here, when it comes to UAE, then it is further substantiated that we are not colored by the color of the religion or something like that. We are a secular country. Any foreign investment is welcome step. And especially where UAE, a trusted partner, comes, then the sentiments all further get generated.
No, but it goes beyond that, sir. No, of course it goes beyond that. Of course, it's different, because for 80 years we've been told that Kashmir is a Muslim issue. It's not a Muslim issue. It's a geostrategic issue between 2 countries that went through a bitter partition and 3 wars that Pakistan has imposed upon India. So every time they take up it at the OIC, there is no correlation between Kashmir and Palestine. They're not the same thing. Have we broken away fundamentally from these old things we were trapped in?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There was no doubt about that. In fact, the Muslim issue was never been the main contention of J&K, although it has been propagated by ISA and Pakistan and China in a very, very different manner. But once the representative of UAE comes and does the investment in J&K, they see that what kind of democracy we are having, what kind of equality we are having. There is no differentiation. There is no forceful annexation. There is no atrocity. There is nothing of that sort. So it will send a message across. And India is always like that, barring one odd country who is propagating like this. It is a Hamas issue. It is a Muslims are being suppressed. We never thought of, from the Indian army, we have served, we have served with all the brotherhood, and we have done not many programs which we are trying to bring them to the mainstream. They are already there. There's very few disgruntled element, and the terrorists who are operating off and on. One incident in 1,000 happens of a terrorist act or something like that. So it doesn't preclude India's stand on Kashmir. As far as we are concerned, we are absolutely one. It is integral part of the country. UAE messages will be very good for the other countries.
Yeah,
all
I would take it a step forward.
Like,
I would say that the Saudis and Emiratis should set up a consulate in Srinagar. That'll be the end of the matter in terms of a global conversation on whether it's a Muslim issue or not. Joyita, okay, now let's take this a logical step forward. We both know in Saudi Arabia as well as in Abu Dhabi, they have the money, okay? They have had oil money. That oil money is not going anywhere anytime soon. It's going to be there for the next decade, 2 decades, 3 decades for sure. But they have to plan their economies beyond that. What most people forget watching this telecast, that Saudi Arabia is a large country, very wealthy country, but ethnic Saudis aren't too many. Okay. Similarly, in UAE, it's the ethnic people are just about 10% of the population. So in terms of labor, in terms of skills, in terms of manpower, to whatever economy you want to build buildings, you want to build AI centers, you want to build computer stations, whatever you want to build, you're going to need labor, you're going to need technical manpower, you'll need intelligentsia, and you'll be looking to invest your money where you're getting a good return from all the oil money. So why does India become tempting for these two countries?
Well, if not India, who? You cannot get Pakistanis to come there. As I said, they do not trust Pakistanis at all. And look at the kind of trust they have when it comes to Indians. I mean, after all, India is an IT superpower now, okay? And our engineers, software engineers and all, they are going everywhere on the world. Now, if you are looking at Saudi Arabia, they are as a next step, they are looking at a post-oil economy, however late, even if it happens after 100 years, MBS in particular has started building the, laying the building blocks of that foundation, and Indians are playing a large part on it. And software development and all, I think, we all know about Neom City.
So the fifth industrial revolution economies.
Yes. So that is what he is moving towards, and that is what all the Gulf countries are moving towards. And given a fact, in a country when your own population, as you said, mentioned about UAE, it's only 10% indigenous people, and when you have got 38% or 35 upwards % of people who are from India, so who are the people who will be building
okay, so I'm going to disaggregate the two before I get Ambassador Manju Seth to just join us. Sumit, just come in on this. So I'm going to disaggregate UAE and Saudi for a minute, because the UAE per se, even in terms of land area, I was in Dubai recently and beautiful highways, no traffic. Now India has a lot of big highways also. I was wondering, where is the traffic? Then I realized the principal thing, that the reason there are no massive traffic jams is because there are very few trucks. Now in Delhi, if you step out in the evening, you're choked with just transport movement. There are trucks and trucks and trucks, because transport of all sorts of nature is happening, and Delhi is a nodal city in North India. So the UAE has oil right now, but it's never going to be a large manufacturing hub, okay?
Correct.
Their port is important, and for the people of UAE and the government of UAE getting into this fifth industrial revolution economies of AI, of data, of crypto and blockchain, of cloud computing, all of this is going to be important. So why would they see India as a logical place? You have the manpower, you can put up the satellites. What other things?
Rishabh, it's a very important question. Kindly allow me a minute more.
Yeah, please.
See, what is happening is we are talking of industrial revolution, industry 4.0 that is happening. Fifth industrial revolution, which you rightly mentioned. Now there are four big four countries. Russians are only good for oils and arms. Now you have China, you have India, and you have United States of America. America, you have already peaked your $34 trillion of debt. China is not a sustainable option because they will come and open an education camp today or tomorrow in your territory. So the only sustainable economy where you have manpower, where you have resources, where you have democracy, where you have IPR protection, where you have skilled, unskilled, semi-skilled manpower, and which is the biggest market growing at 7.8% is the world is only India. Secondly, the most important thing about India is India does not depend on you. India will never cannibalize on you. India does not have any territorial ambitions like China. India doesn't believe in ethnic colonialism. India doesn't believe in Han Chinese dominance. India is a very safe player that way. And the most important thing what I see is that if you have to align, you have to align either to America, either to China or to India out of the three. Russia is not an option. So Americans, where China is not an option. So if you align your economy with India, you are going to grow. Why? India is opening the biggest ever transshipment port in Cochin that Mr. Adani is already working on it. India is developing a lot of harbors. So once the transshipment port opens, Rishabh, what will be the relevance of Singapore and Dubai in the long run? It will not be a lot of relevance. Take my word, it's just 3 years. 26 will have that port up and running. And in Bharatmala and Sagarmala, the number of ports we are developing, the number of harbors we are developing, we are already touching, this year we have touched already $750 billion of exports. So by the end of the year, we'll be touching around $1 trillion, somewhere around $1 trillion. So it is for these people to align their economies with us because of our Sanatani beliefs, we believe in sustainability and Vasudevam Kutumbakam. We are not here to cannibalize and eat on your wealth. Where is the sustainability? Where is the economy and ecology talked in the same breath? Where is the 5 elements balance talked in the same breath? It's only India. So logically, the only better alternate you have at a sustainable price and cost is India, where you can align your economy and prosper in the world. It's as simple as that. And everybody has to take that call.
Okay.
Between the three, everybody has to take a call.
Okay, let me get Ambassador Manju into this. Ma'am, now let's look at the broader interest. Okay, let's look at the UAE per se, because that's the point in question. Okay, now the local population of the UAE just about 1 million people. Okay, that's the population of southeast Delhi. Okay, so it's a small population which has benefited from a great deal of wise real estate investment which has come out from oil money. Now oil money is going to be here for some time, 10, 20, 30 years, but eventually they need to diversify. So why are they looking at India? Now I can guess a few things, that you're going to need labor as both skilled and unskilled, manpower. So India is an obvious option. You're going to need technical skills to develop these fifth industrial revolution economies that you can probably find from India. When it comes to a potential future defense, buying arrangement, India seems to be heading in the right direction. Satellite and space launching, which is going to be fundamentally important in a new industrial revolution, India seems to be heading in the right direction. What are the boxes that we are taking for the UAE? Why is the UAE interested in better association?
I think over the years, if we see how the UAE-India relationship has transformed, it has really, become an example of the relationship of India with the countries in the Middle East. I think that we have to keep in mind. And of course, as mentioned by previous panelists, India is also looking to expand its partnerships in the Middle East and the ITU too, if you see, and if you look at the IMEC and all these recent developments that have come in, they're all very important contributors to India's aim to have a strong partner in the UAE, in the Middle East. And UAE is also looking at India because it understands that what is the future, and its leaders understand given the large Indian diaspora in UAE and what they have seen, the kind of manpower, the kind of ethics that they have, work ethics, by and large, I won't say right across, but
Yeah,
by and large, understood. They've understood that what kind of manpower and what kind of collaborations they can have with India, with Indian companies, and with the Indians themselves, with the Indian manpower, skilled manpower, and how good they are and how overall they function and they contribute to their economy, to the UAE economy. And that's why we can see that in February there's this huge event being planned.
Yeah, a temple in Abu Dhabi of all places, and a big one at that. I mean, we are seeing visuals on it on our screens.
Absolutely, temple being inaugurated. I think that is something which is unprecedented in the Middle East.
Okay, so why the extra mile? What is the extra mile? How have the Emiratis gotten past Kashmir, gotten past claims that all Muslims are being killed in India? You and I know they're not true.
Yes.
But internationally, to get past it, they've had to obviously make a decision that we get past this. We're going to invest in Srinagar. We're going to build malls in Srinagar.
Absolutely. They understood the reality on the ground, and all the narrative building was not something that they believed in. And I think that is the leadership there has made that call, taken that call, and put its bet on India. And I think it's done the right thing because they understand what India is. As I mentioned, the diaspora there has made a big contribution to their understanding. And of course, our Prime Minister and the President Al Nahyan they've met so many times in the last few years. And I think that is another contributor to the trust factor and to betting on India.
So you are in a confluence of interests. You are in a relationship good zone. You are in a geostrategic good zone. So it's all making sense. It's ticking the boxes. This makes sense. The UAE can clearly predict that, yes, in 10, 20 years' time, India is going to be definitely the top 3 in 10 years' time, perhaps a lot faster than that, perhaps in just 2-3 years, who knows, depending on how the German economy shapes up, whether they go into recession or not. So Joyita, now let me look at Saudi Arabia with you for a second. Now, I mentioned this before. If you saw the IPL or the World Cup cricket telecast, you would have all seen a green logo saying Aramco. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if Emaar, which is a real estate operator out of the Emirates, if the Emirates Airlines, they want to advertise, you can understand because they're consumer facing companies. People have to buy their properties, their shops, or buy their tickets, and it makes sense for them to want publicity. Aramco sells barrels of oil by the shipload. It's the world's largest oil company. You and I are not buying barrels of oil. So why would Aramco want to publicize itself in India? It doesn't make interest in anything other than a strategic sense, Joyita, that the Saudi Aramco getting into cricket, which is the most watched sport here in India, with some of the highest television ratings, they want to not only be friendly, but seen as being friendly. What does that tell us?
Well, that tells us about India's rising status. That India is a rising economic powerhouse. India is a rising defense security powerhouse. When it comes to, as we were discussing, 5th Industrial Revolution, India is a powerhouse. India is, whichever way you look towards, India is, touch wood, rising. And it is not China. I mean, if the whole world is looking at India, why would these countries which have a substantial Indian population over there, I mean, some of their countries are actually being run by Indians, except for in the positions of government and all. But when it comes to the actual running, it's the Indians who are doing. So automatically they already have
the attitude makes a difference, because 70% of the workforce in Qatar is of Indian origin. 70%. Okay.
But then,
if all Indians left Qatar tomorrow morning, their economy would collapse overnight. All right. But you have a government which is completely antithetical towards India, despite knowing on their dependence on Indians, where they're not treating the Indians with respect. They're locking in jail and threatening to execute them. Okay.
Yeah.
So you see a huge difference between Qatar and the UAE.
Yeah, but then you have to realize, I mean, then we have to see it from a different angle. Qatar is a problem for every Gulf nation.
Yeah, including the Saudis, including the Emiratis. Yes.
Everybody has a problem with Qatar. So it is actually Qatar's problem that makes it do something like this. Qatar has an I mean, you know, they have got this existential crisis of a thing that we are going to be swamped by Saudi Arabia and all. That is also, in fact, it is said, it will be easier, it will not be easy for Saudi Arabia to take over Qatar one night, and that is the reason why Qatar hosted that World Cup, to tell the world that yes, we exist.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean,
and the reason they operate Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera not friendly towards Saudi Arabia, by the way.
Yeah. So the whole point is that the problem is Qatar, and the problem is, and you see, it is that radicalism, that radicalization of its population, that is what kind of feeds them, and they are basically trying to establish themselves as that other pole in the Arab Muslim world.
Okay.
Which is
Yes.
anti-India.
Yes, that's Turkey, Qatar.
Yeah, Turkey,
and,
Qatar, Malaysia during that other guy's
and,
time.
you know, you can fit in Iran somewhere in there.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Pakistan is kind of hanging in between.
Well, is hanging for sure. Okay, let me quickly get Sumit back into this. Sumit, before I get Himanshu ji and Brigadier Shardindu back, let's talk about Saudi Arabia. Now, I mentioned Aramco. You and I have discussed this before. Okay, why would Aramco want to advertise in a cricket World Cup? They don't play cricket in Saudi Arabia per se. They're not a consumer-facing company, so it's a strategic decision. Okay.
Correct.
Now Saudi Arabia doesn't have a large ethnic population, so yes, they also benefit from labor, both skilled, unskilled, and are planning. And you know, eventually, when they build the Line City and this city, they will wanting Indians to buy houses there and stuff like that. But they do have a lot of money, and they can choose to invest, and in fact, do invest everywhere in the world. Some of the U.S. biggest shareholders in the U.S. companies are unnamed, unknown faces from Saudi Arabia. Crazy amounts of money. Some people would say $1 trillion plus is invested just in the US economy. Why would they look to India?
You see, Rishabh, the point here is, if you look at India, you're growing at 7.9%. You have a demographic dividend which is going to last for 70 years. Will be the world's third biggest economy in a matter of 2 years. Now with our median age is 28 years. Our foreign exchange reserves are now third highest in the world. You are the third most powerful military in the world. You are getting Atmanirbhar in defense, and you have the capability to give arms to the whole world, to your friends rather. And you are the third most powerful navy in the world. So with all these things happening in the world, you know, countries like UAE and Saudis have already peaked. Look at Saudi. The GDP is $1.7 trillion. The oil, which contributes to $1 trillion. Now with the EVs coming, biofuel alliances coming, and alternative energy things coming. So you are the companies who are in a product life cycle, you have already peaked. Now you are stagnating and you will decline. Now you will want to align with somebody's economy where you see a growth and where you see sustenance for next 100 years. So the only option which is here is India, where at the what cost can you get what return? Today, your return per the amount of dollar invested in a long-term strategic way is much higher in India than United States of America. Okay, forget China, you won't even know where the money will evaporate. So that is why Saudis are trying to build a goodwill when Aramco is, advertising here. And the minority stakeholder in Aramco is also USA. I think it's 51 is Arabs, 49 is Americans. So if the Americans have to also give a consent to that. So Americans and Saudis combinedly investing in India is to say, look, guys, we are your friends, we are good buddies, we have all the goodwill, we see India, cheering, good. It's something like that. They are trying to build their goodwill and their trust with the common man who watches cricket. So that when tomorrow the Saudi or this money comes in, people are not paranoid. Why are they investing in India? Say, no, we are your good buddies. For them, India is the only sustainable option where the return on dollar is highest in the world for next 70 to 100 years. This is a reality of world. Everybody has to understand that. So you don't have any option. America, their return is not there. $34 trillion of debt and a lot of problems happening. China is not an option. Russia is not an option. So what is the option? India, only India.
Okay. I've got a few minutes left. Quick, Brigadier Shardindu, the India, Middle East, Europe corridor. Now, given the fact of what is happening and what has probably been created, you can posit a reasonable argument that if Hamas is being funded by the Iranians ain't floating around in riches either. So they are being funded from somewhere else. That's China. So why would China want to create problems in Gaza? They would want to create problems because it would happen just a few days after this IMEC corridor was announced. So I know it's not a long stretch, but given what is already happening there, what's the future? Is it still doable?
Yeah, I'm absolutely positive on this. It is doable because I see it the way China is countering. We have countered their CPAC and their access to the Middle East, I would say that. And in G20, my perception of the thing is this, probably we have countered China in this, the way our economic corridor is passing through. And it will going to materialize. This Israel and Hamas thing is going to cease after some time. And then future lies with us. China has been exposed. Russia has been exposed. Israel dependence on these two countries and the dependence on US is continuing to be there. So where this Middle East country will go, they have to come to India, and that is how we can make progress on it. And once this thing will come up, then definitely it will open a floodgate. Our commercial interests will be taken care of. All these Middle Eastern countries, they have good bilateral relation with us. Lot of area where we can work together, science, technology, engineering, tool, IT, space technology, you name it, art, culture, education. So our diaspora is already there, already working. We were looking for an opportunity to get into the Middle East. And here is the opportunity when we open so many ports, when there is a UAE and the link is taking place, the tunnel, railway line is coming up with the UAE. In days to come, it will come up, but beginning has been made. The kind of commercialization which is taking place, the bridge has been narrowed down. And there's very massive market is available where mutual faith is there, and India has established commercially, economically, politically, and the stability part.
Okay, so let me clear the basics. So now we've discussed the movement of skilled labor force, which is currently moving already in these areas. Now, so far, the traditional asset base of India has been its skilled labor force. It's very young and very skilled labor force. Which is going to be crucial to the development of the global economy over the next several decades. But if India is to become a global manufactory, the movement of goods is the next big thing. And the movement of goods for export is the next big thing. So we have to get the intra shipping, moving goods around India to our ports, very cost efficient. Because if 20-30% of the cost is just logistics and transports, you don't become competitive worldwide. Then, of course, you have to get them outside of India, and you have to have the trade corridors sorted so that you're doing it in such scale that the unit cost per container, per ton, per kilogram is so low that is almost negligible. This part the Chinese, to their credit, have nailed over the past 2 decades. So let me quickly get Himanshu Bhatt into this. Himanshu Bhatt, sitting in Gujarat, which is going to be an important part as a port state of the country, seeing the western seaboard that needs to get developed. What do you make of IMEC?
IMEC is on track. I told you before also. It is on track. And this optics is only for that. I'm very clear about it. Because what's going to happen, nobody has talked about it in an hour, is that, another thing where Middle East is going to rely so much on Bharat is the food security. You need to understand that they grow nothing. They need a sort of food security if they have to survive. See, once the petrodollar is coming to an end, after 2, 3, 4 decades, there is going to be a shift for the alternative sources of energy, where again India will come in, where again Gujarat will play a very big role there. And the third thing is high-tech defense. These are the 3 things which basically will be aimed at this vibrant Gujarat summit, what I see. And that's the beginning. That's why I said, it's a way to future that we are looking at. Because don't forget that we provide 35% of food basket to the world.
Yeah.
And the Middle East, everybody takes everything from Bharat. And you have to secure IMEC.
Yeah, true that. Okay, for some people watching the broadcast, especially abroad, thinking developing country, you guys are probably hungry. We still are not eliminating hunger. I can't say with confidence. I can say we've done a pretty good job of sorting it out. But we are a vastly food surplus country. And that's a good point that is made given the scale of our population. So, quick interjection, and I'll leave the last word with Ambassador and Joyita.
Rishabh ji, just 2 points. First of all, the number Himanshu ji is up to 40%. That is point number one, which is a happy number. Secondly, you have to look at even in hydrocarbons, Rishabh ji, now we are number 4th in the world. We are going to be number 3 very, very soon. So what does the whole of Middle East have? Oil. And where do the hydrocarbons come from? They come from oil. Where does the maximum refining happen? The biggest refinery in the world, which is 5% of the total refining, is Jamnagar. Mukesh Bhai Ambani. So there are a lot of interdependencies even in their core trade vis-a-vis India. So that is the point I'm trying to make.
And of course, Saudi Aramco has a stake in Reliance now. Okay. Ambassador Manju said, in the larger scheme of things, given the fact that this is not a done deal, there are interested parties, namely quote unquote the Chinese, who want the trade routes to be dominated by them. They don't want to book any alternatives. Okay, they are welcome to do it hook by crook. That literally a ship off the coast of Gujarat was targeted probably by an Iranian drone. The Iranians would never have done something like this before. So, is it still possible?
I believe it is possible, Rishabh, because it's not only one country. There are multi-stakeholders in this. And I think that, and funding hasn't come as yet, but there has been a lot of discussion on that, I believe. And the funding will come and it will happen. Yes, China will try and sabotage the thing as far if it can manage it. But the countries who have committed to be a part of the IMEC, I think will ensure, because it will be in their mutual interest, in all the interests of the countries will be part of IMEC to make sure that this happens. And I think it will happen. I'm quite confident it will happen.
So it makes sense. Joyita, quick last thought on getting, because the movement of people, it makes sense, it is possible, and it is to the benefit of all, including to us in India. Okay. But movement of goods, if we can't do it, then you can't become a large exporting powerhouse. So it's crucial. Is it still possible?
Yes, and I think that is the reason why we are building all these ports. And apart from that, when we are talking about that IMEC thing, it is in fact recently India also signed some kind of another corridor which will go via Iran and of course Red Sea and all, bypassing Israel. Given the situation in Israel is slightly bad right now, and the Arab world is kind of keeping quiet when it comes to Israel. So IMEC from India to Saudi Arabia, I think it's working fine in spite of that Houthi trouble and all. But otherwise, I think the Middle East, West Asia, the Gulf also, it is offering India a straight way to Europe.
Okay.
So I think that is really helpful, and I think we are building.
Okay, so I'm going to call a spade at the very end of the telecast. It's very conveniently suits the Chinese to have troubles in Gaza. I would happily say that the master plan is coming from them. It suits them to have suddenly North Korea firing missiles over Japan and having air raid warnings in Japan because of it. These things suit. Who's the ultimate beneficiary? And the ultimate beneficiary of this is China. Now, at some point of time, whatever operation that Israel is doing in Gaza will conclude at some point of time. It might be tomorrow, it might be a month from now, but they will conclude. At some point of time, Hamas's ability to get these Chinese rockets, which is what they're using, like it or not, okay, will diminish. Practical ability will diminish. So money doesn't solve the problem. At that point of time, you need to get I2U2 to work. You need to get the Abraham Accords to work. All the players want them to work, but the environment for them to work has to be created globally. Public sentiment matters, okay? The Chinese are trying to make sure that that public sentiment never arrives. They also tried to buy Haifa, the port, get it on lease from the Israelis. They couldn't do it. They only got a minor port. Indian company under Adani got it instead. So yes, movement of goods is the next big thing, because the movement of people, the future is clearly in India. So welcome to the Saudi President, the UAE President. Great red carpet treatment that has been received by the Indian ministers in Saudi Arabia. Dubai has become a wonderful place for a lot of Indians to live in, work in, travel to. Hope it stays that way, and it's a collaboration that simply just makes sense to all of us. Sometimes it just, the force of history is telling you that this is a good thing to do. Let's hope it yields fruits for all of us combined.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.